Hi, I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
Yo, guys, it's Tom. Welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2017 career mode. And we are here for the Monaco Grand Prix, one of the big ones on the calendar, one of the jewels on the Formula 1 calendar. And I've got a special edition helmet for this Grand Prix, guys, which you'll see in a moment. But you can't really appreciate it too much from the T-Cam, but it's basically more predominantly pink. But going back on what we just saw a moment ago, Chris giving us the update. This time, no failures whatsoever. The R&D part on the front wing has actually been applied successfully, so hopefully we have no further issues and we can continue to improve the front wing as scheduled and try and improve the overall aerodynamics of the Force India car, because we've got a good chassis, we've got a good powertrain, it's just mainly the aerodynamics, so we need to really try and improve the car in that regard. But we're coming here in practice for Monaco, and we're going to run through all the practice programs as per usual. So as you can see right now, we're going to jump straight onto the circuit, and Monaco looking absolutely incredible. And straight off the bat, guys, I've got to say, I'm very impressed with Monaco in this game. The track itself hasn't changed much. I think they've just changed a few curbs and whatever. But I've driven it at night. It looks absolutely fantastic. I'll try and make a video about that soon. But here's the real kicker. You can really notice the extra width of these 2017 cars around this circuit. It's absolutely fantastic to drive. You can really notice some of the walls where you wouldn't clip the inside on 2016. Now you've got to be very careful on this game. I'm talking about, you know, the inside of Mirabeau, the inside of Rascasse, the inside of the Nouvelle Chicane, the inside wall at Tabac. There's so many walls now you can possibly hit. Also the final corner as well. So you've got to be very, very extra careful now, these 2017 cars, due to their width in the streets of Monaco. So that's going to make things very interesting for this weekend. And as you can see, we're currently doing a pretty good job in practice of keeping it out of said walls, and pretty much getting purple scores on all of the targets so far. Just finishing here with a little bit of the fuel saving, which we're going to run across the line now and finish there. Once again, another purple score. And then swiftly after that, we will transition on to the qualifying performance test. And by the way, guys, for this race in Monaco, you'll see in a moment, I'm using the old engine components. So what I'm doing is I've put the new ones I used in the last race are still in the car right now for practice, so I'm using the newer components for practice. But for qualifying and the race, because it's limited on, because I'm very limited on running, because I don't want to kill them off, I decided to use the newer ones for practice, so I'm nicely safe and I can run through the programs with no issues. And then for the qualifying and the race, I'm going to use the old components that I took out after the last race in Spain. So it's going to be very interesting. So, you know, we're going to have to see this one unfold. Sorry, after the last race, not in Spain, after the race in Russia, which was the last one where we ran all the components. We're going to see it on screen right now. Basically, I'm going to transition them back across again. So as you can see, we've got all the newer ones on the car that we used in the last race in Spain. We're now going to put them back into place for the ones that we used last time in Russia. So as you can see, we're all getting transitioned back to the original ones, and the gearbox is going to stay on for one more race. This is my last race with this current gearbox. So if I can make it through this race, then I can now use a fresh gearbox for the next one, and no penalties will be incurred whatsoever. So hopefully we can make that one work, and it works out right for us. But now jumping into qualifying for Monaco in the Q1 session, and currently we're going to go out on these super soft tyres, and see if we can try and get through into Q2 on a set of the Red Bull super softs and try and save our ultras for later on in the session. Here we go, towards the end of our first time lap in the session. It's only good enough for P12, and that lap wasn't particularly spectacular. However, I kept on going, and at the end of the next lap, as you can see here, I'm doing a much better lap here, much better improvement, and this should be a much better lap time to really get us higher up the order here. And as you come across the line, it's going to be good enough for P7 there, getting in between the two Red Bull cars. So a very nice lap there in Q1. Eventually, once the session would end, we would filter through the order a little bit. And I will say this, there is a lot of glitch lap times in this qualifying session. You'll see in a moment, but Hamilton went fastest and everyone was like 50 plus seconds behind, but we qualified in P8 in the end. Both of the Red Bulls overtook us, and luckily also Esteban Ocon got through in P14. And then we move into Q2, and as you can see, we're currently on our first attempt in the session on the ultra soft compound tyres, but we got Kevin Magnussen who's come out the pit lane here, and he's not getting out of the way on the straight, and he's going to completely hold me up through Massenet, and that's pretty much going to ruin my lap now. Then he gets out of the way at Casino, but it's a little bit too late at that point because he's already ruined my lap. So cheers a lot, mate, suck my balls. But we're going to jump into our proper lap in Q2. So here we go then, we're going to try and line this one up and try and make it the one that counts. So into the first corner, very nice run through there, as close as you like into the wall on the exit, and now up the hill, preparing ourselves for the Massenet corner, turn 4, 5th gear, then shifting down to 4th midway through the corner, and then flicking it right through Casino Square, all in 4th gear, then shift up the 5th, and then all the way down to Mirabeau, down to 2nd gear here, avoid the inside wall, which I just do clip with my right rear, and then down into the Lowe's hairpin, the first corner of Formula 1. I use 2nd gear, 1st gear is probably a better choice for that corner, but I got all out of shape into there, getting all locked up and everything. But now through Portier, 2nd gear once again, crucial to set yourself up here for some good traction through the tunnel here. The tunnel definitely been improved in terms of its lighting because it's way darker, and also now when you come out into the daylight it's much brighter. It really hits you there. But into the Nouvelle chicane, 2nd gear, fairly simple, just keep out the barriers, and then on the power once again, and as we approach the back gear, 1 downshift down to 5th gear, get as close as you dare to the wall, through the left right, first part swimming pool chicane, and then into the modified right left, that was modified in 2016, and so far it's a pretty good lap here as we now go into Rascasse, 2nd gear, little lock up on the right front for good measure, and then one final corner here, and then open up the DRS, and it's been a pretty damn good lap here in Q2, and this lap should see us through hopefully into Q3 as we come across the line, and it's good enough for P5, so that's pretty damn good then. I'm actually quite impressed with that. That's a pretty good lap, just ahead of Esteban Ocon, who got a very impressive P6 there, and this is all on the worn engine components. But here is a little issue that I had. You can see Esteban Ocon and Ricciardo set ridiculous lap times due to the time glitch. It's basically just the first sector as their lap. So Esteban Ocon obviously qualifies into Q3, but under dubious circumstances. But out of the way, 2 Forcinas in Q3. I don't think the team are going to be complaining too much. And they're now going to move on to said session. And this is the end of our first lap in the session. Good enough for P7 there. So pretty good opening lap actually. And pretty much best of the rest on the grid. So behind both Red Bulls, Mercedes and Ferraris. So a very good opening lap in Q3. But I decided to go for one more attempt as I got pushed down to P9. They're now going to try and push really hard on this last lap of the session. Here we go into the first corner once again. Really nice run this time, even faster than in Q2, and even closer I think possible, if that's even possible, to the wall there as we now go into into Massenet, 5th gear once again to 4th, much closer to the wall this time, and then flicking it right through Casino, also closer to the wall again, getting all out of shape on the exit, and now down in 2nd gear for Mirabeau, this time avoiding the inside wall but getting a lock up instead. Now into the Lowe's hairpin here in 2nd gear, locking up once again and opting for 2nd instead of 1st gear once again. So a very scruffy lap so far, but still I'm up on my delta, so you can't really complain as I get it a little bit wrong through Portier, missing the apex slightly, and a bit of an untidy lap so far, but I'm still pretty much a quarter of a second up on my previous attempt, so not too bad so far as we go into the Nouvelle chicane. 2nd gear really pushing it this time, and running a little bit deep there, and had to sort of correct myself on the exit as we now go into to back. 5th gear, missing my apex again, almost hitting the wall, so still up on my lap time somehow, but a very scruffy lap here as we now go into the second part of the swimming pool, hitting all of the walls on the entry there. Luckily no damage sustained, even though on simulation damage, so very fortunate there, looking up into Rascasse, and finally the final corner on the exit, open up the DRS, and we're currently pretty much 3/10 up on our lap as we come across the line, and where is it going to put us? Only P8 I think, so that's very disappointing. That lap was pretty good, and it was a bit scruffy, but the improvement over the last one was pretty good, so that was a big lap. We actually beat Ricciardo in raw pace, but then here's the issue. 5 drivers set at 19-18 second lap. I've messaged Codemasters about this, and it's in the DMs, so they should know what's gone on here, and hopefully that gets patched, because I saw this and I was like, oh fantastic. So after that brilliant lap in Q3, it's meant nothing, because I mean look at the AI, what they've just pulled out the bag. So a disappointing qualifying. Ocon gets a P4, so we'll have to see how he tackles that in the race, but we're going to start from P8 tomorrow in the Grand Prix, so hopefully that works out good for us. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the Monaco Grand Prix. Right, so here we are then at race day for Monaco, and I cannot wait for this one. P8 on the grid after a very dodgy qualifying, and we're going to see what we can do. I'm very excited. We've got Raikkonen on our right hand side, the championship leader, and he's on me with the full throw of the grid, but it's going to be a very interesting race here today. I don't know how it's going to pan out, and it definitely, Monaco is a very interesting challenge, and if you guys want me to keep my helmet, by the way, then let me know in the comments down below. I've got this sort of special edition Monaco helmet going on with a bit more pink on the helmet. If you want me to keep it for the rest of the season, let me know in the comments down below, or should I go back to my all blue helmet and then obviously only bring this helmet out for special occasions, or maybe make another brand new special occasion helmet for like the British Grand Prix or something. But let me know in the comments down below. I can also maybe make a special occasion helmet for like Belgium, the last race of the season. So we'll see. We'll sort of just take it as it comes on the fly, but let me know if you want to see maybe more special edition helmets, or just keep this one until the end of the season. But we're here in Monaco, like I said, and in terms of the race strategy, it's a very simple one stop here today. Ultras onto supers and take them to the end. Also fuel wise, the team recommended me to underfuel by quite a bit, by like 1.5 kilos less than what it says here right now, but I've put a bit more in just for safety purposes because I want to have a little bit of fuel in reserve just in case. And we are running with the older engine parts, so I'm going to hope we can survive this race, but there may be a possibility we may encounter some issues. But I'm going to hope that we get through it smoothly because we're taking a big risk with these used parts. But once we get through this race, we can then permanently get rid of them old parts and move on to the new ones now, onto the second round of engine components. But I'm very much looking forward to this race, guys. Hopefully you guys are too. And I think that's going to be it. So let's babble in and let's jump straight into the action here for Monaco. Right then, here we go. Monaco, baby. 5 red lights, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. It's a pretty good launch off the line here. We've got a run on Raikkonen, but we're going to get squeezed into the first corner. We've got simulation damage on, so we've got to be very careful. Cars up or inside. Ricardo having a fantastic start. I'm down to P10 going side by side now with Lance Stroll up here into Massenet. Can we get the inside on the Canadian here? We've had a pretty poor start, losing a place already. We might be losing a second as Stroll goes around my outside. He clips the inside barrier, but he's made the move work around the outside, so fair play to him. What a move there from the young Canadian. And I've lost 2 places on the start after a very good launch off the line, so we're going to just dive one up the inside of Stroll here. Can we go too wide with these extra wide cars this year? I'm keeping it in first gear. Going to leave Stroll the room on the outside. We've got yellow flags behind. Back to green conditions here. Stroll still on my inside, defending really nicely, and I'm going to let him have the place because I just can't get him. So fair play to him. Good defensive driving there from the Canadian, and we're down to P10. So a disappointing opening lap here so far at Monaco. Let's see if we can try and find some pace now and try and get past Lance and not get too frustrated behind him, because I want to keep in contact with the front pack, because Ocon, after that glitch qualifying, is way up the order, so I don't want to lose the battle to my teammate. Okay, I've got some pretty good downforce here compared to Lance Stroll. The 11-11 wings really helping me out, and I've got a good run on the Canadian here. Can I get it on the brakes up the inside of Mirabeau? It's going to be very tight. I'm going to leave Lance the room. Oh, he's almost put me in the wall there. Very aggressive driving from the Canadian. I'm going to get squeezed in, boxed in here. I don't want to lose my front wing, and I've lost the place to Hulkenberg. So that's really not worked out for me. And Stroll basically just putting me in the wall, which was very nasty driving there, and I've lost another place. So right now, we're going backwards here, which isn't ideal. We're losing a lot of time to the front pack. I think the gloves are off. I think it's time to take no prisoners here. We need to make the moves, and the AI are not going to push me around this circuit. Let's have a look. Oh, I thought about it on Hulkenberg there, but not quite. I'm going to keep it in rich. I'm going to try and make the moves here, because the 11-11 aero is helping me through the corners, but it's not helping me in the straights, and I'm going to force in there, so you'd expect me to be a bit quicker in the straight line. So we're going to try and use the rich mixture here to get past these guys. Just tapping the wall slightly there. This time, no prisoners taken up the inside of Hulkenberg. This time, squirt the power on nice and early. Around the outside, Hulkenberg's going to go for the same thing as Stroll did. I'm going to switch back underneath him here. There's no room through, though. These cars are just too wide, and we're going to have to sit behind Hulkenberg for a little bit longer here. And hopefully I can make the move into the Nouvelle chicane. Can we get a good exit out of there? No, we can't. So we're going to be stuck behind him for a little bit longer here. Okay, I'm right on the back of Hulkenberg here. We've got to take absolutely no prisoners. Poor exit out of there, but we've got to go for the move here. Will he have DRS on Stroll? I don't think he will. So I'm going to have DRS on him, but I think I'm too far back. I had a very scruffy exit out of the final corner here. So let's try and set ourselves up for a move maybe into turn 1. Pretty good exit out of there, not too bad. Back end stepping at me slightly. I think Mirabeau is going to be the one. That's the place where I can get on up the inside on the AI. So let's get nice and up close and personal to Hulkenberg here. Nice run through Massenet, nice run through Casino, very close to the wall there, but this time we're going to go for the reckless dive up the inside into Mirabeau, locking up the right front, squirting the power on. Hulkenberg's still there, but this time I've made the move stick. Very nice overtake there, and Hulkenberg this time couldn't hang around my outside, so really making the overtake work here, being nice and aggressive. And now let's try and get past Lance Stroll, because the front pack is really pulling away here, and I'm losing too much time to my teammate, and I want to try and catch Ocon and finish ahead of him this race. But I'm literally pushing Stroll through the streets of Monaco here. I was going to look for the outside, but I'm just a little bit too far back. Stroll brake checks midway through Casino, and that's going to cost me a bit of time and cost me a bit of a gap. So Stroll stays ahead for now. That brake check through Massenet really didn't help, so we're going to sit behind him. I'm going to pass him very soon though. I've got the pace, he's very slow, and Ocon's doing a nice train in front, so that's going to give me the chance to catch some of these guys ahead of us, because you just can't overtake around here. It's actually so hard in this game to pull off an overtake, and I'm proving that by really having to sweat my tits off to get past Hulkenberg and Stroll here. And this ain't like a slow car on a straight line either. This is a Force India. Even though I've got 11-11 aero on, it's still a pretty good car on a straight line, but it just goes to show that the AI are just, because of the wider cars and just the nature of Monaco, and the AI improved this year, it's just hard to make the passes. Right, I think I'm fancying a bit of Raskas here. bit of Raskas action. I'm on the back of Stroll. Come on, can we get it in there? Oh, yes. Very nice. A little bit of a pinch to squeeze Stroll out. But there we go. Right, nice move. Just squeezing through the gap. Had to force my way through. That's the only way you're making moves around this circuit. But really, just, you know, taking no prisoners, absolutely bombing it in there, and praying that you keep your front wing in one piece. So that was a very nice move there. And we're now into clean air and up into P9. So let's try and now recover our starting position and try and catch the train of cars ahead of us, which is being led by my teammate Esteban Ocon. Just having a look at my engine components, and it looks like my gearbox is about to go up to 50%. Normally, from what I've been told on the game, when the gearbox is 50%, that's when you're going to start having issues with the gearbox. So we could be encountering some problems later on this race, and that might not be good for us. Meanwhile, other components now all pretty much on 60%, and yep, they're all on 60 except for the energy supply, I think that is. So right now, the car is starting to get a bit worn, and we've still got one more race, I believe, with this gearbox, which is the next one in Canada, I want to say. So we've still got one more race after this gearbox, but we're going to give it a good go. Hopefully it doesn't fail on us too hard this race, because we do need all of our gears, especially the lower ones.
We're looking at some gearbox wear, trying to keep your number of shifts to a minimum.
Right, so there we go. First sign that we've got to try and take care of the gearbox, otherwise we could be having issues. So we've got to try and minimise the amount of shifts we're doing, which isn't ideal because Monaco is one of them tracks where you shift the most amount of gears. So we've got to be very careful with the gearbox now. Okay, so Ocon's in. So that's going to release everybody. That's a very early pit stop from Ocon there. So he must have had enough on those tyres. He must have some pretty big tyre wear, because actually I think he's on supers. So that's a very weird stop. Or he's come in for supers. I'm not really sure right now. I think he's come in for super stuff. So either way, a very weird stop there from Ocon, and an unexpected one. But that's going to release now. He's like the cork in the bottles, and now everyone is going to pull away. So we've got to try and still maintain this good pace and see maybe with a pit stop we can try and get any closer to these guys.
Okay, we're reaching a danger point with the wear on the MGU-H. Overheating the engine will exacerbate the issue, so keep the temps under control.
Right, so we're really getting some warnings now on all of our engine components. Meanwhile, I'm at the P4 now. We've got a few people coming in for super stuff, so I'm going to stay out for one more on the Ultras. My pit window is now, so I'll probably come in at the end of this lap, but let's try and push this in lap now. But the engine components are starting to scream a little bit. Okay, then here we go through Raskas into the final corner. We're going to come into the pit lane here, so let's get the limiter on. There we go, solid pit entry. We've got that's a Mercedes and Verstappen also in the pit lane there. But here we go, we're going to hit our marks. No front wing change required, which is critical. We're going to hold the clutch in. Optimal revs there. There we go, 2.8. Good solid stop onto the super soft compound tyres. And now let's see where we rejoin. We've dropped behind obviously Ocon, and there's going to be a little battle going out of the pit lane. We've got to be careful with this pit exit because it releases you earlier than what you think. So there we go. We just avoid the wall on the inside. We're going to rejoin in P10. So we've got someone who's obviously stayed out for a little bit longer, but we're going to rejoin basically where we was. So let's see how this pans out. Meanwhile, Pascal Verlaine, the P11 there for Sauber. Good job from him. But let's see what our pace is like on this tyre, and let's hope that the train in front still has Ocon at the front of it. And I can see the minimap, he pretty much is in the front, except for one car. Ocon is still leading that train, so if we've got some good pace in these tyres, we can still catch that train. And there we go, we've re-inherited P9. Magnussen was the man in the pit, so we're back into our normal position, and now let's try and push these super soft tyres and try and catch Kimi Räikkönen. Solid lap there, 14.5, only 4/10 off Seb Vettel, just set the fast lap of the race, and I think he's in the lead, so good pace for me here, and I'm catching this train pretty quickly. Oh, okay, something's happened here. These guys are going a bit slowly, so something's gone wrong, I think, from what I can tell. So I just gained a lot of time all of a sudden. I was outside of DRS, now they're going very slowly. So we've got Räikkönen, both Red Bulls, and Valtteri Bottas here. So I don't know, to go for an early lunge and see what I can do, or I'm currently down on fuel, so I might knock it down to lean behind these guys, stay within DRS, and then once I'm positive, I'll come out of DRS. Sorry, out of a lean mixture. But we've got yellow flag behind into Mirabeau. And yeah, Nico Hulkenberg's out of the race, so there you go. I thought I saw something on the mini-map, and we've got a VSC, so that's a perfect chance for me to save the fuel that I need now, and that is going to be perfect because I can now save that fuel and then push once the VSC comes in, and I should be back on target. So from what I can see on the mini-map, I think Ocon, who's leading this train, is currently in a podium position. So that is incredible if that is true, because he started P4, so he must have jumped someone on raw pace. So that means if we get away from the field, there's been an issue. I think there's been contact. Bottas having problems here. We're going to go green again, so I'm going to go up the inside of Valtteri. He's got front wing right end plate damage, so I'm going to let him go. That was very close. Lucky I backed out of that, but Bottas front right end plate damage. He's on soft tyres, so he should be a bit of a sitting duck with the damaged front wing and slower compound tyres. So let's try and get nice and close to him and make the move. But I was saying, Ocon is on for a podium. As you can see, it's once again turned back to a 4-car train here, and Ocon's pulled away. So something was going wrong. It's probably Bottas that was causing issues, but now you should see the pack speed up, and Bottas is going to drop off, and I'm going to try and pick him off now because of that front wing damage that he has. Oh, the engine parts are really starting to struggle now. The team are worrying about various things. You can see I'm going to orange on some parts, 75% on the ICE, so it just goes to show we're really pushing the car here with the engine parts. And luckily nothing has happened so far, but any moment I think anything just go pop. Right, let's focus on Bottas because I think I can get past him here. I'm starting to really get a move on. You can notice the Mercedes. I drove the Mercedes around here on time trial. The longer wheelbase the car has, because it's so long, like how it looks like a boat, you can actually really notice it through the slow speed corners and through lows. The car is just so long, it just goes through the corner so slow. But here we go then. This is once again the Monaco struggle. It's hard to overtake in the straights because there's no slipstream, and Bottas is the fastest car in the straight on the game, so we're going to have to really try hard to get past Bottas here. Oh, I'm very close. Going to go for the dive here into Portier. Leave Bottas the room. I had to go for the dive there. I was too close, too tempted not to make the move. Bottas goes straight back into my slipstream, and I think he's going to want to try and overtake me here, but luckily I think I've got him, and he's not going to get me on the brakes here. So that was a very nice Wily L Fox move. Wasn't really expected, to be honest, but I just got such a good run through lows and the Portier section that I just had to go for it. I was too tempted, and there we go. We're up into 8th place now. Let's try and catch up to this train again. Okay, on to the last lap of the race. I don't think anything's going to happen, but I'm going to give it a bloody good go. The only place we're going to get a chance is Mirabeau and the Lowe's hairpin, I think, and maybe into Raskas if we're close enough by another lap. So let's just push the remaining past this power unit for this last lap here, because if not, we'll still finish in this position anyway, because we've got a huge cushion behind. So let's really push this car now this lap and see what we can do. Ocon's leading this train, so I'm going to push every brake zone here. The power these guys generate out of the corners is just too much. I thought about a lunge on Kimi there, but thought better of it. Going to stay right on the back of him though. Can we just line something up by the end of this lap? We'll have to wait and see. Here we go then through the final few corners. I don't think anything's going to happen. Vettel has won the Monaco Grand Prix, and I think we're going to come home in P8. So not too bad. We came home in P8 in Spain, so for the second race running, it's 8th place. Ocon is going to get a podium finish. Now, you know, you could argue that the podium made that a possibility for him, but he still started P4, so he had to actually gain a place to make that podium happen, and he did. We got yellow flags ahead for some reason, but wow, that was a very different race. I think we lost a lot of time in that first stint behind behind Stroll and Nico Hülkenberg, which didn't help our calls, and that really hampered us a bit. But overall, you know, we scored points again. It's good for Force India to keep on scoring points, and I can say the AI are much better on this year's game around Monaco. In past games, you could just run like a slower car and actually beat them. Like, you could run a Manor around here and get pole position. That is actually impossible on this game. Like, the AI have been drastically improved around Monaco. So, fair play to Codemasters for doing that, because I did PA, but I was right on the limit for grip, pace, everything. The engine on the brink of blowing up. As you can see, Esteban Ocon does bring home a PE3 for Force India, and I've got 2 podiums to my name this season. Ocon brings home the first for Force India on his name. So, there you go, the brand new Monaco podium in the game, and yeah, that is going to be it for Monaco, and that is the podium, and we're now going to look at the final race results and see what other interesting things happen, and also what it means for the drivers and constructors championships. But that was Monaco. So as we can see, looking at the final race results, Sebastian Vettel wins with Felipe Massa in 2nd place for Williams. Absolutely incredible result for him, also benefiting from the slightly debatable qualifying, we could say, but as you can see, Ocon brings it in P3rd, also benefiting from the qualifying. Lewis recovering from P6 to P4. Daniel Ricciardo from P9 all the way up to P5. Fantastic race for him there, and a really nice recovery drive, beating his teammate who started in P3, Max Verstappen. Then Kimi Raikkonen, championship leader, once again a disappointing race in P7 for him, also a victim of the dodgy qualifying. And then myself finishing where I started, with Carlos Sainz getting good points for Toro and Romain Grosjean scoring points for Haas. Valtteri Bottas only managing P11, but looking at the driver standings after that race, I jumped to P6, overtaking Bottas, but Massa jumps Esteban Ocon with that 2nd place finish, but Ocon getting a nice few points on me, and we're now only 15 points apart as teammates. But A very interesting race there for the drivers. Raikkonen's lead now only down to 5 points through his teammate Sebastian Vettel, and Max Verstappen still holding third place there, but Lewis gaining a few good points in the championship also. And finally looking at the constructors, as you can see, we're holding P4 quite nicely. Williams getting a nice few points with Massa getting a really good result here today, but luckily me and Ocon got double points finished, so I think we actually overhauled the Williams team for points this race. But overall, guys, that has been this episode, and we're now going to jump onto a little bit of a special feature in the race I want to show you guys before we end it. So let's jump into it right now. Right, so we're at the laptop, and I've saved up a nice amount of resource points, and we're going to delve deep into the R&D for you guys, because a lot of you have been asking me. So as you can see on the screen right now, we are the 5th best team behind Williams. So the goal is to try and jump them, and at least become the 4th best team, because we are slipping down the pecking order, and eventually we want to try and catch Red Bull up. So we're going to delve into the R&D tree, and we've got a nice few amount of resource points to spend, so we're going to spend them wisely on the aero. The chassis, as you can see here, we're not doing too badly. Like, we're not the best, but we're sort of in the mid-pack right now. So that's not too bad. In terms of the powertrain, we're also doing pretty good in there. We're the 3rd best team, obviously matching the Mercedes power cars. And obviously durability is just general wear on car parts. So we're going to focus on the aerodynamics, which, as you can see, we're the 3rd worst team. And we need to really improve here. So this race, we've got the front wing upgrade. So for the next one, I think I'm going to do either the rear wing or another front wing upgrade. I'm thinking a rear wing upgrade for the next race. So, I'll say the next race is in 2 weeks' time, so it won't be for Canada, it'll be for, I believe, Baku or Austria, whichever one comes first. So, we're going to go for the rear wing upgrade and try and improve that. And then let's see if we can purchase anything with the remaining 350 points. I don't think we can, so let's have a look in the durability tab. Can we get anything for 360? Let's have a look. No, I don't think we can. So, I think we just have to sit on these points and try and get a few extra points, and hopefully try and improve in other areas. But right now, that has been this episode, guys, of the career mode. And like I said, I want to end it off on a bit of a different note with the improved R&D, and sort of showing you where we are right now in terms of a team. There's a lot of you who have been asking me in the comments. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you have, then please do smash the like button and see if we can try and smash 100. Actually, no, you know what? Screw that. Let's try and smash 300 likes on this episode, guys. Also, if you're new around here, why not subscribe to my channel if you're new around here, because there's plenty of fun content on the way. And if you haven't missed any of the previous episodes, guys, there's a playlist link down below in the description, and also a link to the previous episode, and also the 2 most latest episodes should be on screen right now if you haven't missed any of them. But other than that, guys, I thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.